What's up guys, Manny from Motomillion, and this is our baby superbike. So guys, here it is. It's our baby superbike, and I'm calling it the baby superbike because it's the small displacement superbike in Ducati's lineup. It's a 955cc as opposed to the 1103 and the 1000cc of the V4R. I'm in love with it. Look at this under the sunshine. I think the color scheme works really well. And if you guys already watched it, we've done some first mods before we take it for a ride. We did our caliper spacers, radiator guards, TWM fuel cap, and also we did our tail tidy kit on the bike. I think the bike looks gorgeous as it is. These are very small mods, but I think the radiator guards are a must before I even take it for a ride. Also, this beautiful tank is protected with our Ducati Performance Tank Protector, and it's ready to ride. It is the new year, so happy new year guys. And it's gonna be my true first ride of the new year, but also I've never ridden a small displacement superbike by Ducati, and I'm really excited because this thing only has 2 miles, so it's gonna be a true, real first ride for you guys, and I'm gonna be as honest as possible. I read your comments. Guys, you guys keep saying that we're doing stuff that's very repetitive. I don't think so, because so far we've only done 1 Street Fighter V4, 1 Panigale V4. This is our first V2. We've done 2 R1Ms. I don't think it's repetitive, but don't worry. If you guys are not into Ducatis, we got more stuff coming up. The RSV4 is coming, and I think we'll pick up a ZX-10R maybe towards the summertime. But that being said, now that I pushed that out of the way, that replied to some of you guys, let me take this on a ride and let me tell you guys how a baby superbike feels. Okay guys, well, we're on the bike. True first ride. Take a look, it's gonna say 2 miles. And we got a Grom or a Grom. Right away I could tell you that the seating position on the bike is totally different. It just feels a lot narrower, and it feels really nice. And here we go. Initial impressions, the sound is totally different. The brakes are not bedded in, so we'll try to bed those in. I'll let you guys know what bedding in is. And the bike really feels smaller than the Panigale V4, that's for sure. The mirrors shake quite a lot, and I guess that's the 1299 trait too, that these mirrors shake so much. I don't know if you guys can tell, but wow. Let's go get fuel first. I wish we had received the bike with fuel, but oh, the fuel light went off. Maybe it has fuel, I don't know. We're gonna go check it real quick. Let me first fill this up guys, and we'll continue on our first ride journey. And this is how easy it is with the TWM fuel cap, by the way. Well, I know that we can't find the kickstand with this bike. That's one first thing, it's right there, but it's so hard to put it down. There we go. I gotta get used to that. Okay, we're back on, so let's continue our ride. And did I mention how light this bike feels? Just by not even doing a mile yet, because we're still at 2 miles guys, the bike feels pretty light. The brakes really need to be bedded in, and can't find neutral. There we go. The bike's still new, so let's not pick on the neutral issue. We dripped a little bit of fuel in here, that's not bad. And you guys saw how easy it is to fuel up with this TWM fuel cap, especially when you have gear on. And I think it's like 70 something degrees in Miami, which is a cooler day for us, but for whatever reason it still feels warm to me. And the bike is at 151 Fahrenheit, and it doesn't feel warm like the regular Panigale V4s or the Street Fighter V4s. But let's get going and let's see. I really got to bed in the brakes. And some of you guys might be asking what bedding in the brakes are. And bedding in the brakes are introducing your pad material to your brand new rotors. So what you want to do is you want to get up to some speed, and ideally you don't want to do it on a road like here because there's cars behind you, but right now we have no cars. And you want to do a couple stops just like this and speed up, hit the brakes a little bit, and just put some brake pressure on to apply some of that pad material onto your brand new rotor. And another pet peeve of mine with most Ducatis are that the brakes out of the factory, the bleeding of them is pretty lackluster. So the feel on this, on the master cylinder, is not too good. But you know, that's a simple fix. We gotta bleed the brakes even if it's a brand new bike. I don't know if it's a part of their PDI or not, but it's almost let's call it a Ducati thing. And oh well, it shut off on us. 3 miles. We'll blame it on a new bike thing. This is I guess you guys who call me Ducati fanboys, this is as real as it gets, because I'm telling you guys a lot of the kind of the downsides of things right now, because I'm noticing those the most. The biggest positive on this bike that I see is definitely it's actually the weight, of the lack of it. And the clutch is a wet clutch, and the clutch is really smooth compared to the dry clutches. And excuse me while I do this, guys, because I was sitting in the middle of the traffic, and I do not like sitting behind cars in Florida. Unfortunately, we got pretty horrible drivers, and there's been many instances that people have been rear-ended on their motorcycles. So far, the biggest difference I could hear is it's an audible difference. The bike sounds pretty good for a stock bike. I'm sure with our Aero slip-on it'll be much better. The brakes are not bled well, which is a Ducati thing. We'll fix that, and as we bed in the brakes it'll get better. The bike looks really cool. I like the color scheme. The bike feels really light. The kickstand is pretty horrible. That you got to get used to finding it. And the clutch feels actually really soft compared to the Panigale V4s that I'm used to with the dry clutch, because that pull is a lot heavier. Let's get on some open road so that we can bed these brakes in. The mirrors are kind of wonky, and this is why I'm going to replace those mirrors, guys, because take a look at this. Number one, I can't see anything out of this mirror other than my arm. But again, if I lift my shoulder up, I could see behind me, which is the same thing with the Rizoma mirrors that we put on, that a lot of you guys have a hard time understanding what I mean by I gotta lift my elbow. It's torquey, guys. You know, it's obviously this is not as fast as the Panigale V4, but I'm telling you, this is fast enough to even have, you know, a good time on the roads. As you guys see, I'm just bedding in the brakes, where ideally you want to have more open road and less cars behind you, so you could actually come down on the speed a lot more. But what I'm doing is I'm just applying the brakes, slowing down. At the beginning you want to start with light pressure on your brakes, then you want to give it moderately higher pressure as you do more and more stops. Around 10 to 20 is what you want to achieve. But the bike feels really nice and nimble. I like it. You know, it does feel like a smaller bike, and it does sound very different. It sounds like a 2-cylinder Ducati, I guess, at this point. But it does have plenty of, I don't know, the torque is really good. I wonder if it's me that hasn't ridden a bike recently, but it feels down low a little more torqueier than a Panigale V4, to be honest, because you guys know those V4 engines, unless it's the Diavolo or the Multistrada, are not really torquey down low, even though they're 4 cylinders and this is a 2. The grips, I think, got it well, because I'm not really feeling this, but on the first impressions it actually sounds pretty okay. The quick shift is really nice. You guys know that It used to be the weak point of Ducatis, the Panigale V4s, the Street Fighter V4s, until they did the refresh in 22 model year, that the quick shifters got an upgrade, and it was much needed. But this Panigale V2, the quick shifter works really well. I just really do not like the feel of the from master cylinder. I mean, you know, it's a baby superbike, so it's really approachable. I wouldn't hesitate to recommend this for a new rider, even. That if you have some kind of a control over your wrist, that you're not going to do stupid things. You know, it has everything. It has engine brake, it has the quick shifter, it has ABS, it has wheelie control. So as long as you're keeping it within your own safety zone, you could even start on this, because it's fairly nimble and light, and like the controls are really, really usable. Like this clutch that I keep saying it feels so light. I kind of like that it's thinner down here too. The riding position's pretty okay. I'm 6 foot tall, and feels pretty good. We're at 201 Fahrenheit though. It's gonna come down over here at the speed, but it's kind of a bit windy day here in Miami too. We're about to go over Biscayne Bay, which is basically ocean. And as you can see, the water's pretty choppy, but ergonomics wise, even to tuck down, it's pretty okay if you're going to ride it on track. And I will try to get this thing on the track, because as I said, it's very approachable. It's a, let's call it a friendly bike. That's what I feel like it is. These I just can't get over how much these mirrors are vibrating though. I know that some of you 1299 guys and 959 guys were complaining that once you come down from a wheelie, you guys are breaking these mirrors, and look how much movement this thing has. The display is nice and bright. Yeah, it is no BMW display, but it has everything I want to see. And I know some of you guys are saying it doesn't have a fuel gauge, but it doesn't bother me that much that it doesn't have a fuel gauge, because you kind of get the sense of it, because when the tank is full, you kind of see that weight difference on the bike. But also you could always open and take a look before you ride, or I always just fill up before I ride anyways. I mentioned you guys the good and ugly size of this bike. I don't want to call it ugly, but let's call it the good and some sort of the bad things, like the mirrors and the placement of things that leaves you to be a little more desirable. Especially, you know, I call it the baby super bike, but the price is really not baby, right? So this bike is 20 grand plus. So you expect some of these mirrors and stuff like that to be a little better out of the factory, but overall I think it's a great package, right? Because you are getting that Ducati badge, and the bike looks cool, you know. I like it. It could be, I wouldn't mind riding this thing every day. It's comfortable. The seat is a little more comfortable than the Panigale V4 since it's not so wide. It's not grippy though, you know. I keep finding myself sliding forward. So the seat shape is nice, but the material I think could be a little grippier. I'm riding with Kevlar jeans. I don't know how it will be on full leathers, but I don't know how many of you guys ride full leathers on the street. Maybe some of you Canyon carvers, but these jeans are almost as good as leathers because they have protection in the Kevlar as well, and it's fully Kevlar lined. But let's sum things up, guys. So I'm pleasantly surprised with how much audio the bike has stock. You know, it's I'm sure it could be always improved with a slip-on and a couple other things that we always do. But for a stock bike, it's surprisingly audible. It has a nice engine tone, surprisingly torquey for a baby small engine super bike and missing 2 cylinders. The throttle is not jerky on low speed, so it's really, really rideable around town in traffic. The front master cylinder is typical of Ducati, that it's not bled well from factory. The kickstand is hard to reach. The mirrors are kind of wobbly, that I can't see much out of. The placement of them is not too bad. It feels really nimble at night. And I guess it does get hot, like you expect from a Ducati, but not too hot. You know, I'm just cruising around, but it's kind of a cooler day for us here in Miami. So let me try to toggle up and down. Let's see if it has yeah, it says 77 degrees is the ambient air outside, so you guys get a feel for it. But I guess if you base the Street Fighter V2 compared to Panigale V2, since if it's anything similar to what this bike feels like, I think that bike is a winner for around town too. But if you want the more racy look, and if you do your occasional track day, this is really cool. Really, really awesome. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that, guys. So I'm going to put more miles and go around and just enjoy this bike and enjoy the Miami weather we have here in winter, and ride this a little more, so that we could, number one, start uncorking this thing, putting in exhaust, and doing our stock dyno figures and everything like that before we even get into the exhaust. But I think those are my honest first impressions, guys, from a street rider point of view. I can't get on a track and tell you guys how this bike feels, but I'm sure it's more than capable of what 99% of us riders are capable of. But if you have any specific questions, you guys can always ask those questions down below. And it's the new year, it's a new bike, and I'm pleasantly surprised with this bike. As a stock bike with just the minimal things that we've done that does not alter the riding of it at all, this bike feels amazing. So if you're thinking of getting one, and if you're thinking of not spending Panigale V4 money, and if you want to get on the Ducati brand name and have a super bike, I think I wouldn't hesitate to recommend this bike before to anyone. And I don't know if I would say the same thing before if I had ridden one, but this is amazing. But I think I'm going to leave it at that, guys. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Until next time, have a good one, guys.